What's up, Seekers? Welcome back to the coolest channel on YouTube. If you guys are brand new here, man, you guys don't know what we do, don't worry. I'm gonna break it down for you guys. We talk about the most scariest and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, that's gonna make us question everything. Everybody sit back, put in your thinking caps. Let's do what we do best, Seekers. Say it with me, y'all. Seek the truth.
Proof that there are shapeshifters all around us. This is not normal behavior. Look at the eyes. I've never seen anybody's eyes that wide. There's no way she's fully human. Stay weird, y'all.
It's now clear that your TV is actually watching you, potentially even listening to you. This year in 2026 there's been a huge rise in lawsuits to smart TV companies, and also a huge rise in cybercrime. I'll get back to it. Reportedly, your smart TV is watching and listening to you, and well, taking notes. A couple of weeks ago, Texas actually hauled major players like Samsung and LG into a court over claims of this, accused of something called automated content recognition, which basically tracks you without you even knowing. Imagine every 500 milliseconds the TV taking a screenshot of what you're watching. The companies then reportedly are able to build full profiles about the viewers, seeing your viewing habits, how you interact, the ads that then become more and more personalized. And this is reportedly happening not just in Texas, obviously, but all across the world. There's even scarier reports out there that apparently people can actually get into your TV, like it can be hacked. Even though you may not think your TV has speakers and a camera, they may be able to listen into you and see what you're doing in real time as well as what you're watching on the screen. And then you're going to really get some proper personalized ads from that. With this though, in 2026, it's been one of the largest rises in cybercrime, which is pretty scary, with hackers being able to get into people's TVs and do this as well. So it's not just the companies, it's the hackers as well.
We got a smart TV. Not me. What the hell is that? It's like something exploding in the damn atmosphere, bro. It's dissipating. What the hell is happening?
A few days ago, the Epstein files had another massive drop, and apparently there was a lot of gaming-related stuff in there. So by now you've seen that Epstein was banned from Xbox Live because of harassment, but ever since then, people found this document that literally shows all his social media accounts and emails, which include his username called Littlest Jeff, and from there, not only did people find an old World of Warcraft account tied to his name, but they also found his Fortnite account that went inactive back in Season 10, which lines up with the time that he died. But the crazy part is that the account then came back and kept playing Fortnite up until Chapter 6 Season 1 in 2024. On top of that, they also found one of his YouTube channels from 10 years ago that just got mysteriously banned, and there's a rumor that this other channel was also secretly at where he left a comment on Markiplier's FNAF 2 video, and also uploaded Minecraft gameplay videos where all the comments are from like a day ago asking Big E when his next upload is. But apparently Epstein did play a role in normalizing microtransactions in video games, according to an email exchange that his advisors had with the former Activision CEO in 2013, talking about wanting to indoctrinate kids into the economy.
Sad. Why is she laughing? I know BB's laugh, but it's giving an eerie vibe.
Okay, so everyone in the US is showing how their bread does not dissolve underwater and is pretty much rubber. I want to show you Australian bread underwater.
Alright,
Alright,
testing.
straight away.
Crumbling like it should. Real bread. Looks like that fire and ice game, bro. Oh, cool, man.
People are wrapping their car in Vantablack, which is the darkest material in the world. It absorbs 99.5% of incoming light and basically makes the car seem like a driving shadow, removing all visible edges, curves, and detail. That being said, it's illegal to wrap your car in Vantablack almost everywhere in the world because you literally cannot see the car at night.
I was about to say, like, imagine seeing that on the highway, bro. At night, like you're just driving along, cruising. You freaking hit something, you can't see it, and it's like right in front of you, bro, because you had that wrap on. What the?
Sam Altman's most secret device just leaked, and what it reveals about where OpenAI is actually heading is far bigger than anyone expected. It is codenamed Sweet Pea, and it sits behind your ear all day connected to ChatGPT around the clock. Instead of pulling out your phone, you just speak, and it handles everything from booking rides to managing your calendar to answering questions entirely hands-free. Supply chain leaks confirmed by multiple outlets show it runs on a smartphone Class 2 nanometer chip, and OpenAI has already confirmed a late 2026 launch with Foxconn lined up to produce the first 40 to 50 million units. The man designing it is Jony Ive, the same person behind the iPhone, the iMac, and the AirPods. OpenAI paid $6.5 billion to acquire his firm specifically for this project, which tells you everything about how seriously they're betting that the next computer you own will not have a screen. But here is where the story gets genuinely strange. While building the ear device, Sam Altman co-founded a separate company called Merge Labs that is focused entirely on brain-computer interfaces and just raised $252 million with OpenAI as the single largest investor. And unlike Neuralink, which requires brain surgery, Merge Labs reads your neural signals using ultrasound and engineered molecules from completely outside your skull. 20 years ago, you typed to a computer and then you learned to speak to one. Sweet Pea is the bridge to what comes next, and Merge Labs is the long bet that eventually thinking will be enough. Would you wear a device like this? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed stories like this, follow my page for more.
My answer? No! No! Moving on. Where's Papa? I don't see him. He's not there.
Hey, fool. This man right here just did the craziest shit on live television. This is the United States Secretary of War, fool. He just exposed what the whole fucking plan is, bruh. Watch the handshake between him and some other dude.
Alright, we locked
Watch the
in.
hands, y'all. Not this part. The handshake.
Signaling it?
But one thing that people out there don't understand is that they all communicate with
Y'all see it, right?
okay, the Freemason lodges teach these handshakes.
I see
They're
it.
indoctrinated with the Freemason lodges, and you can see these celebrities, quote unquote, and these politicians using these handshakes all the time with one another.
I know y'all seen that crazy shit. This shit is wild, fool. Y'all gotta understand the real reason why we're over there in Iran.
Our robot shoveling snow. You can't even do it.
You had a Facebook account between 2007 and 2022. You officially have less than a month to claim your portion of Meta's $725 million lawsuit settlement. As we all remember, in 2018, Facebook was fined nearly $5.9 billion for privacy violations. But what many people don't know is that a significant share of this fine is going to be redistributed to the people whose data was mishandled. So if you had a US Facebook account between these days, you can claim your rightful portion to $725 million. The amount of money you'll get will will depend on how many people actually submit a claim before the August 25th deadline. I haven't heard a lot of people talking about this, so you're welcome. But also, sorry, because this video now exists. This is the website to submit a claim, and I've chucked it here for anyone who wants it.
He's addicted to stealing public transit. But the thing is, he just drives the routes for free because he loves it. Darius McCollum has autism and is fascinated with the New York City public transit system. Since he was 15, he's been impersonating transit workers. He puts on a uniform, grabs a set of keys, and just takes over the job. He drives both trains and buses, and he does it perfectly. He announces the stops, fixes broken signals, he's never had a single accident, and he makes sure no one is going to be late for work. He's done this over 1,000 times, and he's been arrested 32 times. But the city won't hire him, even though on paper he's the perfect employee, because of his criminal record. In fact, he has spent nearly half of his life in maximum security prisons, all because he loves trains a little too much.
See, these billionaire elites put the truth right in your face and then tell you didn't see it. And then they lie and say it wasn't true. So the internet is going crazy right now because this man right here looks exactly like Jeffrey Epstein. I want you to look at this picture right here and tell me that that doesn't look like Jeffrey Epstein.
Pausing. The glasses. That's a similar face. I mean, if we were driving on the highway, man, and you look over right quick, you can see the similarity, bro. It's kind of eerie, man.
Look at this right here. Remember what I said. Okay.
Right there.
This shit is crazy, man. And they're going to tell you that this is AI. They're going to tell you that that's not real. Yeah, okay. A lot of people are being distracted by a lot of things. You got the war going on, and that war kind of overshadowed the Epstein files. But it's one thing that'll forever be true. The truth can never be hidden. And number two, the devil is very impatient. I say that to say that this doppelganger, clone, or whatever he is, showed up for a reason in Florida. And I know it's going to be a lot of people that say, nah, that's not him. It don't even look like him.
It do though.
Really? Look again. Original video.
Is alive.
Listen.
Epstein is alive.
With the fake meat out here.
They're finally doing it. They're trying to learn how to get into the house. Definitely have to keep that door locked from now on.
What the hell?
You'll never see McDonald's the same after this video. That is a bear, right? He tried to give it a pickle or something, didn't eat it. That is the whole burger. About to what is that? The sensory of animals are next level. It's almost like they almost have superpower amount of being able to sense their senses. He naturally on the land, he like, stop. That's not, bro, that's a bear, a wild bear. Well, it look like a tame bear because he all on him, but he doesn't want that. He didn't like, bro, get away from me eating that. He trying to finesse him with the patty. No.
He don't want
Shout out to Sin City. If you seen what I seen, believe what I saw. Stop eating that fake stuff. Wow. The tried to feed the bear McDonald's for a minute straight, bro, and the bear denied it. From the first bite, he was about to bite it just off trusting, bro, just off GP. And he like, hold on, what is that? Ugh. And y'all just consume it. I don't care about the files. Yeah, you're a demon. I should.
Man, if the bear's not eating that crap, then why we eat it, bro? I ain't eating McDonald's like that, so I don't have to worry about it.
Just stay away from these folks.
What the hell is that? That ain't no crab. How did that get in there? We need answers, bro.
You're kidding! It's so huge!
Octopus?
Oh my god!
He ain't letting go. Let go. What the? Are those like damn wasps? Those the murder hornets, bro. What the? Oh yeah, that's his car now. You got it, big bro. You got it. I want no smoke.
That guy, he's got something on the back of his head.
Oh, whoa. Hey, sir, can we interview you for our YouTube channel? Okay. This guy's got something, you got something on the back of your head.
Wait, I got something on the back of my head?
Yeah, it's like a...
Oh, you mean my hood nut.
Get a picture of that.
What the?
What is
Yeah, this is my hood
Can I
nut.
see it?
Yeah.
It's like that Matrix plug.
It helps me sleep right.
That helps you sleep, right?
Yeah. So I'm a stomach sleeper. Yeah, and so the thing they don't tell you about stomach sleeping is you're gonna have trouble with pillows. You know what I'm saying? Because I like to just be, I'm straight in on that pillow. I don't do none of the side stuff.
Okay.
I'm straight down in it. And memory foam is comfortable. You can't breathe in that much. You suffocate. And then I tried that polyfill. You might as well be sleeping on a sheet of paper. It's just squish.
Yeah.
And then I switched it down. And then it turned out I was allergic. I had hives all over. I looked like I had pimples and whatnot. But I had this idea. I went to one of them. It's like a tattoo/body modification place.
Okay. What the heck is
Okay,
that?
this is where it was.
Gone
I
now.
go back out here since I took that video, but it can't have gotten in here. I mean, this whole thing is gated up for my cats, so I don't. There's Sage, my cat. I haven't let them out here
Smart.
since I saw it. It's I don't know. But it's the crawl space. It's supposed to be locked though. The plants. Okay.
It's in a crawl space?
Bro, have y'all seen this, man? Y'all can't tell me that we don't live in some type of simulation, some type of matrix, some type of theater, man. This gotta be theater. It's gotta be a charade. You know what I'm saying? And then the fact of the matter is, this is an Australian news, bro. This is not AI, y'all. This is real for real. But the symbolism is very, very loud and clear over here. They're basically saying that the start of the Epstein stuff, it starts the fall of America. Because y'all know the Titanic sank, bro. The ship is going down. They're literally telling us, bro. Because if you guys know the history about America, it's all about sacrificing. Trouble's obviously there, bro. And now it's time for that shit to come to an end, bro. Because if you think about it, these people are really pirates. I mean, it makes sense that why they're on a ship, right? Because they came over on a boat, right? The original banana boat. Literally, this is the original banana boat. It's the original banana boat because Christopher Columbus, they came on a boat. You know, we were already here. These people, these are the pirates, bro. But if this doesn't prove to you that we all live in some type of simulation, some type of place, some type of theater, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Let me know down in the comments below, bro. The shit is here.
Guys, remember the case of Lacy Fletcher, the woman who melted into her couch? Well, the people responsible for this have been sentenced. But let me remind you guys a little bit about 36-year-old Lacy. In 2022, she was found deceased on her family's couch, and apparently she sat there for 12 years without moving. So how exactly does that happen? Well, Lacy had severe autism and she was nonverbal, so she solely depended on her parents as her caregiver. But after years of neglect, she weighed less than 100 pounds. She was found covered in maggots at her own waist. And again, this is how the couch looked like when they found Lacy deceased. Lacy's cause of death was acute medical neglect, and ultimately her parents, Sheila and Clay Fletcher, were each sentenced this month to 40 years, but will only be serving 20 years in prison. Now, what's outrageous is that her parents, who went from this to this, testified that their daughter refused any medical attention. How can someone who couldn't communicate and completely relied on them refuse medical attention? A 36-year-old weighing less than 100 pounds. Let that sink in. This tragedy could have been prevented. There is no excuse.
Gross habits that are
case,
actually
man.
good for you. It's healthy for your stomach to burp after a meal because it means it's getting rid of excess air. When you bite your nails, you're actually consuming some of the bacteria under your fingernail. As a result, your immune system begins producing white blood cells, which fights against bacteria. Children who bite their nails or suck on their thumb are less likely to develop allergies, according to research. Before the last one, I just found this super addicting game that you'll never want to get rid of. You build your own kingdom and destroy others, and you can get it right here. Showering strips your skin of its essential oils, which is necessary to keep it hydrated and protected. So it's okay to go without showering for a day or two.
See, guys, tell me if y'all. I know y'all been seeing it in the freaking in the social media spheres, bro. Like, there's been a lot of freaking celebrities talking about how they really don't be shown at all, or like they only do it like, I guess so, like once a week or something like that. Please tell me y'all don't follow that, bro. Don't be funky, seekers.
Secret rooms hidden in famous locations. In the Statue of Liberty, there's a small room hidden inside the torch, but no one can enter inside because it was damaged by the Germans in 1916. And although it was repaired, they still don't allow anyone inside just as a safety precaution. Mount Rushmore is famous for the 4 sculpted faces of the previous American presidents. But behind them is a secret vault, and inside is the secret Krabby Patty formula. Just kidding, they keep historical documents back there, like the Declaration of Independence, and the biography of the sculpture, and the history of construction, but no one can access them. Inside Big Ben, there's a secret room by the bell tower. Although it's no longer in use, it used to be a prison for people who breached the code of conduct, and I have no idea what that means. But before I show you the coolest one, I just found this game that you'll never want to get rid of. Build your own fortress and attack other people, and you can get it right here. The Tower of London is one of the most famous fortresses in the world. Underneath it is a pub that you can only get invited to by one of the other members.
What is the dumbest reason you can think of somebody committing a crime? I'm about to one-up your thought right now. This man from Pennsylvania behind me named Benjamin Gowell killed his girlfriend because he didn't like her haircut. And just because he didn't like her haircut, he stabbed her to death. This happened on Sunday, November 3rd at 1 p.m. in East Hempfield, Pennsylvania. Police were called, the EMTs transported 2 people out, and 1 person was pronounced dead at the scene, so there was 3 people involved here. The victim was Carmen Martinez Silva. Her brother was also present there. I'm assuming he tried to fight the suspect, her boyfriend, off. Her brother would get stabbed in the skull, and Carmen would be pronounced dead at the scene. They found Benjamin Gowell's kitchen knife in his car. Apparently Carmen was a little fearful of Gowell, so she went over to her daughter's place. Her daughter gave her a haircut, and that just infuriated him for some reason. She was scared to go back, so she went to her brother's place. That's when she informed him she would like to end the relationship because he was being crazy. He knocked on the brother's door. The brother told him she is not here. He came back a few minutes later with a knife, stabbed him, broke through the house, and then stabbed her multiple times. This is all over a haircut. The haircut's the thing that apparently sent this guy over the edge. Now he has 3 counts of aggravated assault, a homicide count, an attempted homicide count, and a bunch of reckless endangering counts. Obviously, with his girlfriend dying now, he will probably be getting life in prison. That's a first-degree murder right there.
Over a damn haircut, really? That has to be one of the most dumbest crimes we've heard yet. People, man, be doing the most stupidest things for no reason. Life in prison for a haircut.
You have to hear this. An Uber driver claims that he actually picked up a group of ghosts. A man in Savannah, Georgia, a town that is well known for its paranormal activity, says that he used to work for a car service. One night, the man whose name is William was sent to pick up 3 ladies from Foley House, a historic bed and breakfast in the heart of the city. When he got there, he saw 3 women dressed up in what he described as Southern Belle outfits. He said that he picked them up and they got in the cab. They were going to Elizabeth on 37th Street. He said that they were all chatting and laughing in the back seat, and he was having a good time just cruising. Williams said that when he got to the destination, he turned around and said, "Ma'am, your fare is going to be such and such." But shockingly, there was nobody else in the cab. He called his boss to tell him the unexplainable story, but before he could begin, his boss grew angry, asking him if he had picked up the 3 ladies from the Foley House. He said that he did, but there was nobody in the cab. To this day, William believes that he picked up 3 ghosts instead of the paying customers that had requested the ride.
Islands on Earth that if you
Ghost
go to,
Uber?
you will die. Up first is North Sentinel Island. It is home to the Sentinelese tribe. Those who go never make it out alive. Next is Spider Island. It's home to most of the biggest and deadliest spiders in the world. And trust me, these can definitely kill you. Next is Monkey Island. You've probably never heard of this, but this is a remote island in Puerto Rico, and it's home to some of the deadliest monkeys in the world. All the monkeys on this island carry one of the most lethal infections in the world. Finally, and this is probably the worst one, Reunion Island. The surrounding waters are completely overrun by sharks, and the population keeps increasing rapidly. In total, there have been 50 shark attacks at this island.
And people still go there? Monkey Island, Spider Island, Shark Island. It's like, pick your poison. Which one do you want to go? Which one you want to go to? If you had to choose out of all those 3, what would you pick, man? What do you think you could survive on? I want to know.
Creepy relics of early 2000s Craigslist are completely unmatched. So back in the early 2000s, Craigslist was just this safe haven for some of the darkest fringes of society. It's the only way I could describe it. And just first off, we all know what a septic tank is, correct? They're very common, they have to be pumped, a lot of homes have them. So let's discuss the Alabama man who would pay you to go into yours. So his official ad says, "Some might judge me for this, but it's what I enjoy. I will pay you $150 an hour to bring my equipment in and gain access to your septic tank. I then have my associate close the tank. After I set up my tripod and camera up, believe it or not, it's a great place to reflect." And very unsurprisingly, not long after, a lot of videos leaked on LiveLeak of what was known as Septic Tank Man. Absolutely, the videos are shocking, but I think the more shocking part is how long ago this was and that nobody has ever identified who this man really was in Alabama.
The absolute scariest moments captured on camera. This eye-wrenching footage recorded on the 12th of January 2021 shows a group of people in a boat when a massive iceberg collapses. When the iceberg collapsed, it made a terrifying wave that was over 30 feet high.
Damn.
The group of people in the boat try to get away as fast as they can as this monstrous wave follows them. Thankfully, they get away safely just in time. That wave could have easily wiped them out.
They could have. Yeah, they hit the jets on that boat, bro. Full drive. Man, pictures, like I said, they tell a story. You never know, man. At the right moment, it could be your last moment, bro.
Kids with Real Superpowers Part 1.
this kid, whose name is this one, I don't know how to pronounce it, and he's called the Catboy because he can see in the dark. As you can see, he has very bright blue eyes, and when he was seen by the doctors and asked many questions, they ended up in the conclusion that he can see in the dark. But there are a lot of people who claim that this is fake. Do you believe it's true or not?
When they entered the apartment, what they found was disturbing. The first thing that they saw was a skinny 4-year-old Benji with 2 big black eyes. But not just that, Benji had bruises all over his body. He also had an injury in his ear, and because of that, he had a gauze just like sticking out of his ear. The officer said that he was very skinny and did not look like a normal 4-year-old. When they asked why did Benji have all these injuries, Miranda and Brandon said that he had behavioral issues and that he would do this to himself. They said that he had a habit of constantly poking his eyes and ears, and that's why it caused those injuries. Then officers decided to bring Benji alone into the bathroom, and they asked him again, what happened to you? Benji said the same thing his parents said and told the officers that he did it to himself and that he poked at his eyes and ears. But when you watch the video, it doesn't sound genuine, and it kind of sounds like Benji was rehearsed and told to say that. They had locks on their fridge, on their kitchen cabinets, and everywhere where there was food. They also noticed a lot of cameras set up in the apartment, especially in the kitchen. From their point of view, it just looked a little bit odd. Why are there so many locks and why is there cameras everywhere? Now, they retrieved all these cameras and began looking at all the footage, and I was not prepared to see what I saw. I think this was one of the saddest videos I've seen in a while. Watching how this boy would sneak out of his room in the middle of the night to look for food, it literally broke my heart. It was said that before Miranda moved into the home, Benji was able to just go in and out of the cabinets and fridge and get whatever he wanted. But then these locks were added and it became more difficult for Benji to get food.
These identical twin sisters were pure evil. In 1952, in the quiet town of Eldridge, there were 2 identical twin sisters, Emily and Evelyn. On the surface, they appeared to be normal, sweet girls, but beneath that, they hid a sinister nature. A new girl named Clara moved into town, quickly gaining popularity, which angered the twins. The attention shifted away from them, and they grew envious. One evening, they invited Clara to a secret gathering in the woods, promising her a magical experience. The next morning, Clara was nowhere to be found. The town buzzed with rumors, but no one had proof of what happened. Weeks later, the twins' mother, Lorraine, overheard a disturbing conversation while passing by their room. She pressed her ear to the door and heard the chilling words, "We need another one." Clara wasn't enough. Horrified, Lorraine burst into the room, but it was empty. On the twins' beds, she found 2 dolls, identical to her daughters, and a 3rd doll with Clara's face. The twins were never seen again. Some say they still wander the forests, waiting to claim their next victim.
What do you guys think? Is that like a creepy folklore story? Because there'd be some realism to that. I think that's a folklore to me. I think that we heard a folklore story right there. But
These are the scariest serial killers from each state, part 1. Up first is Nanny Doss from Alabama, also known as the Giggling Granny. She married 5 times and murdered 4 of her husbands, and the only one that survived was her first husband. She also poisoned 11 of her family members. Her first 2 victims were her children, who allegedly died from food poisoning. She got the nickname the Giggling Granny because she would always laugh at the crimes she committed. She killed 11 people and is definitely the scariest serial killer from Alabama.
You telling me it's her own daughters?
As of right now, this is definitely my top 10, absolutely top 5. It is easily one of the most uniquely effective horror movies. This movie is about a woman named Ella who is a stop-motion animator working with her mother. And when the mother becomes hospitalized, it is up to Ella to finish her mother's vision, which Ella doesn't really want to do. And with the help of this random little girl from down the hallway, Ella tries to create a film like no other. However, when the world of reality and the world of stop motion start to really bleed together, it's going to make you wonder for the entire runtime of the movie, what is real? Now, in my opinion, I absolutely loved this movie. I don't know if the director is a genius or accidentally one, Because everything in this movie just somehow works, and it works without answering all of your questions. It is a very dreamlike and ethereal type movie, so from the start you're kind of questioning about everything, which some people are going to love and some people are really not going to like. And it goes without saying, the stop motion animation in this is perfectly creepy. If you've seen any of the previous works of the director, take the weirdness and tone of that and put it into a movie. Now, as far as like what type of scares to be prepared for in this movie, it's a good mix of a lot of different things. A handful of jump scares here and there, but what is really effective is when the purpose of the movie is just to solely creep you out. But a warning to the squeamish, there are a couple of body horror scenes that can be kind of rough. They're extraordinarily well done. Just keep that in mind towards the end. Now, stop motion has a very limited run in theaters. Hopefully there's more showings in the future. But the good news is stop motion will be streaming on Shudder on May 31st. If you've seen this movie, what do you guys think?
What if I told you the mother behind me was
seen
feeding her sons to cannibals? Behind me is Cara Robinson. She's from the Czech Republic and she had two sons, Jacob and Andrej. Her and her sister were part of this weird cult called the Grail movement. They believed by doing good deeds that they would go to heaven. Now here's where it gets dangerous. This cult also believed that they were free to commit any crimes they wanted to and nothing would affect them. And they were also cannibals. Things now got even stranger when her sister showed up with an adopted Norwegian child named Anika. She was 13 years old. Some people believe she was actually 30 and posing as a child. She was in a trafficking ring and had a lot of sympathy for her. Soon, Clara started to forget about her sons and started thinking about adopting Anika as her own. That's when this weird doctor started emailing and texting her out of nowhere. He claimed to be Anika's physician. She met up with him, he showed her her medical records, he gained her trust. The doctor said to Clara that you cannot adopt Anika because her sons are so mean to her. This was the doctor's plan all along as a cult leader. You guys remember that cult I was talking about at the beginning of the video? The doctor is like the head of this cult. He said to fix this, she needs to beat her boys as much as she can, for every little thing, and she fell for it. This was to cure their evil spirits. The doctor said these treatments are not working now. You need to take them to a cottage very far off from everyone else. She met up there. There were several people there, including her sister and Anika's brother. The boys were put in cages and tortured in every single way you could think possible. People there started to skin the boys and eat their flesh. They also made the boys eat their own flesh as well. And Anika, the 13-year-old, she kept saying the boys were still being mean to her to continue this abusive cycle. She was also part of that cult and she was not 13. The whole cottage shock therapy ended and they went back home. The boys were treated the exact same back home though by their mother Clara. They were put in a cellar and locked up in there. Anika was living life in a room with a ton of toys and got everything she wanted. She was basically manipulating Clara this entire time. Now here's the way that she got caught and it is crazy. Her neighbor was setting up a baby monitor for his newborn baby. Now, back in like the early 2000s, if you had a baby monitor nearby, it could pick up that signal and you could see what's in there. It could jam a little bit. He managed to see these boys tied up in cages in her basement. Could you imagine the horrifying look he had on his face seeing this? And he did what every good person would do. He called the police immediately to get them some help. The police came and everybody was arrested. Clara, her sister, and Anika. And it turns out Anika was a 33-year-old woman. Her real name was Barbara Sklorova. This is a picture of Barbara Sklorova right here, aka Anika, and she was the basis for the movie Orphan. In case the story is sounding familiar, it's basically Orphan. The doctor was actually the father of that girl Anika, aka Barbara. And Clara's sister was in on this cult the entire time and manipulated her. They all got about 5 to 10 years in prison. This story definitely had the wildest turn of events I've read about.
5 to 10 years after all that? I never even knew Orphan was based off that. I've seen that picture before. That's how I saw the simulators. I'm like, there's always freaking truth behind those stories, man. In media, what we're seeing now. It's a shame.
This is how you would survive if you were in a zombie apocalypse. It's Saturday. You're in your room watching Netflix. But alone, though, because you're single forever. All of a sudden, you get an emergency alert on your phone. A zombie apocalypse is real and has just begun. The news report states that global warming melted a glacier that had ancient viruses in it. Those viruses spread like wildfire, giving humans erratic and aggressive behavior. The virus spreads by saliva, so it causes its host to bite uninfected humans, similar to rabies. To survive, the virus feeds on your flesh, slowly deteriorating anybody it infects. 1 minute into the zombie apocalypse, you start to panic, still processing what's going on, what you just saw. You call and check on all your family members, but you don't go to their homes because anybody can be infected and you're afraid. 3 minutes in, you calm yourself down. Lock your doors and windows, and think about running to the gun store for protection and the supermarket to get food and supply. But you decide not to, because remember, where there are people, there are zombies. 20 minutes in, you realize you can't do this alone. You won't survive without a good crew. After all, teamwork makes the dream work. You call your loyal friends, families, anyone you know that can join your crew. 46 minutes in, you start thinking strategically. You wear all your leather clothes so that if a zombie tries to bite you, it's harder for him to get through. You leave your car because eventually it'll run out. It'll need gas. So you grab your bike instead. Plus, a car makes too much noise anyway. 3 hours later, you and your crew are finally all together. You're safer this way. The first plan of action is to get out of the city. It's crowded with people who can potentially be zombies. So you need to go to a more secluded area. You and the crew decide to go north, where the temperature is much more colder and can potentially make the zombies move a little slower. 2 days in, on your way out of the city, zombies attack. One of your crew members gets bitten. They tell you to take them out before they turn into a monster. You don't want to, but sadly you honor your friend's wishes and continue on. 3 days in, you guys are now living in a cabin you found in the woods. You don't have much supplies, so you and 2 of your crew members volunteer to go get some. All you have is a knife for protection. You guys find a local store 30 minutes away and grab everything you need. All of a sudden, zombies come running in. One jumps on your back before you can even react and tries biting you, but the leather jacket you have on protects you. Thank God he couldn't get through. You use the knife you have and take him out. You and your crew hop on the bikes to get away, but sadly one of your members get devoured. 5 days in, you can't stay in this cabin hideout anymore. It's surrounded by zombies. More and more zombies are starting to appear in the area. You and the crew decide that it's actually time to pack up and head out. You need better protection, so y'all find a local abandoned building. It's made of bricks, so this should be a little more safer. You block off all the entrances you can find. You need to recharge, so you all rest while switching shifts, being the lookout. 10 days in. It's only been 10 days, but it feels like forever. You manage to get more supplies more wisely this time. These supplies will keep you alive for days. You get non-perishables, like rice, canned food, beans,
Stack
and
up.
oatmeal. 1 month in. The area is swarming with zombies. You can't stay in this building any longer. You and the crew head to the docks to find a boat to travel in. It'll be safer this way because zombies can't swim. Finally, you guys find one and can sail to a new location. You guys jump off the boat to go find food. You have hunting and fishing gear. While hunting, all of a sudden you hear a loud roar. It's a bear. Not only a bear though, it's a zombie bear. The virus is now spreading to animals. You and the crew make a run for it, back to the boat. 4 months in, but you got no more food and the crew is starving. It's only 3 of you left and you're stuck on the boat. The engine will no longer start. It's out of gas. Zombie animals and people are surrounding the area. You pray, and you guys listen to the radio to figure out if there's any good news or any updates. Everything just seems hopeless. 4 months and 8 days in. This is it. You've lost hope. You and your friends are done for. There's only 3 of you. But you want to live. You don't want to die, but you're starving. You have no other choice but to eat your friends.
Oh, man.
1 year in. You finally stay in a fort you built, but zombies are surrounding it. Luckily, you were smart enough to build traps all around. You sneak through an underground tunnel which leads to the backyard where you can escape. Just in time before they got in your fort. 1.5 years in. You're on the radio and you discover there's a colony that survived. They're looking for other survivors. You send an SOS immediately. It won't be long before you are noticed and possibly eaten by zombies. You are on your last leg. No food, no water, no shelter. You barely have strength to walk. You start to lose all hope. All of this was for nothing. But then you hear a helicopter up above. It's the survival colony you sent the SOS to. They rescue you and you survive. But is this finally the end or just the beginning?
Interesting facts to tell your friends, part 1.
Okay.
Up first, did you know 2 days in your life will not last 24 hours? And those days are the day you were born and the day you will die. This is absolutely insane, and just wrap your head around that for a second. Next, it is almost impossible to speak the biggest word in the English language. And it's on the screen now, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce it.
Me either.
Next up, you only know you fell asleep when you wake up. So next time you're laying in bed trying to sleep, just know you won't know you fell asleep until you've woken up. Next up, you can feel that your toes are touching, but your brain just ignores it. Do me a favor and try and feel your toes touching. I bet you can. Next, 90% of people after a discussion are left thinking of arguments of stuff they could have talked about. And I know I'm 100% guilty of this. Next, our brain generates about 50,000 thoughts a day. I guarantee you can't even write down 50,000 thoughts. Finally, the last person you think about before you fall asleep is the source of all of your pain or all of your joy. So just remember that.
Imagine if you were the last person on Earth. Free food. Explore the unknown. Empty houses. Abandoned cities. Empty roads. Go anywhere you want.
True.
No school. Get any clothing you want. You don't have to worry about corona. Eat whatever you want.
Good eats.
Peaceful sleep. No job. Waking up to silence. Screaming and hearing nothing back.
That's actually scary though.
Empty malls. Drive as fast as you want. Explore Area 51.
Oh, I'm definitely doing that.
Checking if you're actually alone.
Which of these facts is the hardest to believe? Breathing through your mouth while sleeping increases the risk of tooth decay. People who bite their nails tend to have stronger immune systems.
Really?
Your nose is the same size as your thumb. If you see a bear, don't run. Instead, raise your arms to make yourself look bigger and scream loudly at it. There are more bacteria in your mouth than there are people in the world. If you were offered $1 million, but you have to spend the rest of your life with the second person that appears when you click share and then WhatsApp, would you take the money? Your pinky finger is actually the strongest finger on your hand. Of more
facts that you.
I think the one which was the one he was telling the truth is what the one with the bear, how they say you're supposed to make yourself look big, because I've heard that in a couple of videos we actually watched. I learned to do these clips, man, we've been seeing. So I'm gonna go with the bear one, man. That's actually, you know, you wouldn't think something like that would work, but I've seen that through a couple of videos, man. If you just scream and shout at the bear, they'll like try to run away. So I'm definitely going with the bear fact one. Or you guys picking something else?
Probably didn't know until now. A lot of us are used to taking flights that last anywhere from 2 to 6 hours, but did you know that the shortest flight in the world only lasts 57 seconds? A Logan Air flight between Scottish Islands Westray and Papa Westray only lasts 57 seconds and travels a distance of 1.7 miles. Like, bitch, I could run that. Another fun fact is one about elephants. Did you know not only do they hear out of their ears, but they can also hear out of their feet? Typically, to hear normal distances, elephants will open their ears like that and scan back and forth to hear. But to help them hear noises that are far away, they'll freeze, lean on their front legs, and that's how they hear. And lastly, we all know and love Pringles. Who doesn't love a good Pringle? The man responsible for creating the iconic Pringles can is named Frederick Bauer, but that's not the fun fact. The fun fact is that when he passed away, it was his dying wish that his remains be put in a Pringles can. His children honored the wish. They even debated over which flavor can they should put him in, and they settled on the original.
Really? What the hell? That's a weird request.
This Inuit tribe crafted tools out of space metal.
No way.
10,000 years ago, this meteorite landed in the Arctic in northern Greenland. An entire Inuit community sprang up around it just to make tools from the iron in the meteorite, which resulted in badass stuff like this, a spear made from a narwhal tusk tipped with space metal. They didn't even have enough wood to make fires to actually forge the metal, so they had to cold forge it, just hammering it with giant stones until it was the right shape. The tools were so valuable, they were traded as far away as Norway.
Today I was asked who has killed the most people in history, and what I found will leave you speechless. Now, most people probably assume that the answer is Adolf Hitler, the architect of the Holocaust. Others might guess the answer is the Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin, but both Stalin and Hitler were outdone by one man named Mao Zedong. From 1958 to 1962, his Great Leap Forward policy led to the deaths of up to 45 million people, easily making it the biggest episode of mass murder to have ever occurred. In pursuit of this utopian paradise, Mao Zedong herded villagers from all across China into giant people's communes so that everything was collectivized. People had their work, their home, their land, belongings, livelihoods,
all of it taken away. In collective canteens, food distributed by spoonful according to merit became a weapon used to force people to follow the party's every dictate. Now, historians have speculated that tens of millions died from starvation alone. And it is not only the sheer number of people that were killed, but also the manner in which people died. Between 2 and 3 million victims were tortured to death or similarly killed, and often for the slightest infraction. There's one story of a boy who stole a handful of grain in a commune, and he forced his father to bury him alive. The father died of grief a few days later. Another time, a man had his ears chopped off, his legs tied with iron wire, a 10-kilogram stone repeatedly dropped on his back, and then he was branded with a sizzling tool. And all of this was punishment for digging up a potato.
Man, you would think we would hear more about that in the history books, but this is my first time ever hearing about something like that went down, that history. Really goes to show you, man, how things just get like discarded in history, man. You really have to look and find it. There's way more things that's happening in this world that we're unaware of. Whoa.
3 historical facts that will turn your perception of time upside down. Number 3. It's a surprising but very real fact. The guillotine was still being used for executions in France when the first Star Wars movie was released in theaters. In fact, the last execution by guillotine took place in 1977, the same year as the movie's release.
Whoa.
This shows how some ancient practices can persist over time, even in an era of technology and innovation. Number 2. It may seem incredible, but the Tyrannosaurus Rex lived closer to our time than to the Stegosaurus. Indeed, the T-Rex roamed the Earth around 68 to 66 million years ago, while the Stegosaurus existed during the Jurassic period, which ended about 145 million years ago. This means there's a gap of nearly 80 million years between these two dinosaur species. This example illustrates the astounding timescale that characterizes the history of life on Earth. Number 1. Cleopatra, the last queen of ancient Egypt, lived closer to the time of the moon landing in 1969 than to the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza. The pyramid was built around 2560 BC, whereas Cleopatra ruled from 69 BC to 30 BC. This puts into perspective the longevity of certain ancient civilizations like that of Egypt, and shows how human progress can be both slow and fast.
Fun fact, until 1822 we had absolutely no idea what happened to birds in the winter. All we knew were there were birds in the summer and no birds in the winter. And people developed a lot of crazy theories about what would happen to the birds every fall. Some people said they would dive into lakes and hibernate under the ice. Some people thought they would burrow into the ground to hibernate, while other people said the birds would transition themselves into other animals like mice and rabbits in the winter, and then would transition themselves back into birds in the spring.
Really?
A Harvard educator named Charles Morton did propose migration in 1694, but he believed birds migrated to the moon and back. Then in 1822, a German hunter was out looking for dinner near the town of Klutz when he shot and killed a white stork. But when he picked up the bird, he found it already had a 30-inch spear in its neck. Finding this interesting, the hunter brought his kill to the nearby University of Rostock, where scientists found the iron-tipped wood spear to be of Central African origin.
Ooh.
This proved without a doubt the stork had migrated between Europe and Africa, and led scientists down the right path to discover that birds migrate to warmer climates in the winter.
Disturbing facts you didn't need to know. Did you know that sometimes doctors use teeth of dead people to make dentures? And talking about teeth, there's a fish in South America that has human teeth, and for some reason it looks so creepy. If you ever see this cute frog, run away as fast as possible, because it's called a golden poison frog, and it has enough poison to kill 15 humans in a few minutes.
Damn.
Now, we all know a chainsaw is used to cut wood, right? But did you know it was invented to assist childbirth? And finally, there are still around 40 million slaves around the world, with India having the majority of them at 8 million, mostly kids.
What the More people need to know about that, man.
Weird facts about the world, part 1. It snows in the Sahara Desert. Coca-Cola does not exist in only 2 countries. Colombia's brightest rainbow is in a river. You're always 7 years behind Ethiopia.
Really? What the hell? So what time is it in Ethiopia now?
What happens if you put your head inside of a particle accelerator and turn it on? Kind of like this Hot Wheels loop. Particle accelerators accelerate particles to nearly the speed of light. And this guy, Anatoly Pogorsky, was unfortunate enough to stick his head inside of one while it was on, and this is what happened to him. Scientists use these giant circular machines, also known as atom smashers, to see how subatomic particles like protons behave while traveling at the speed of light, doing tests like crashing them into each other and other complex science stuff. And yes, I said at the speed of light. Well, almost. They get it up to like 99.99999% the speed of light, because 100% is still impossible at the moment, but hey, we're getting close. They do this by accelerating subatomic particles like protons in a long circular vacuum tube that's colder than space. They start off in a smaller loop where they use electric currents from really strong batteries to get the particles moving fast, and magnets to keep the particles on a stable path as they curve through the loop to be fed back into the batteries and get even faster. This feedback loop gets them fast enough until they're fed into a bigger loop to reach even higher speeds. And they inject a second set of protons here so they can play ring around the rosy with each other and just keep getting faster. They're then fed into the final loop where the two sets of protons are accelerated in opposite directions so they could collide into each other and do science. This right here would be the Large Hadron Collider, the biggest particle accelerator in the world at 27 kilometers in circumference, where the protons travel the entire circular distance more than 11,000 times per second. So yeah, it's fast. The LHC is in Switzerland and contains 1.8 billion kilometers of wires, enough to go the distance of not around Earth, but of Earth's entire orbit around the sun twice, or from the Earth to the sun and back 6 times. Anyway, so that's cool and all, but now that we know what a particle accelerator is, let's put our head inside of one. On July 13th, 1978, a scientist named Anatoly Pogorsky was working on the U-70 synchrotron particle accelerator just outside of Moscow, which is much smaller at 1.5 kilometers, but the speeds are pretty much the same. So there was an experimentation room in this lab where the accelerated protons are exposed to open air for a brief moment, and they had bare safety measures in place to make sure that no one walks in when a live beam is going. But Pogorsky showed up to the room 5 minutes earlier than he was supposed to. Somebody forgot to lock the door, and the emergency light that signaled a live beam burnt out. Say hello to Murphy's Law. He enters the room and doesn't realize there's a beam of protons traveling through the open air in front of him because they're both silent and invisible. He bends over to have a look at a few monitors and accidentally puts his head directly into the beam of trillions of protons traveling basically the speed of light. That's 76 billion electron volts of energy passing through his skin, skull, brain, and out the other side. But the craziest part? He felt no pain at all. And there wasn't even a hole in his head. That's because protons are so small that they physically passed in between the empty space of the atoms in his own head. And the voltage didn't stop in his head, it just passed right through it, which is why he didn't die from 76 billion volts. All he reported was his entire field of vision being overcome with a light brighter than 1,000 suns, but a light that only he could see. This light was inside of his head. He kind of tripped out for a sec, but once he realized he was fine, he logged the experience and went home without telling anyone. But the next day, his head started to swell, so he went to the doctors, and they calculated the exact path the protons passed through his head in. Although he survived, in the years to come, he lost hearing in his left ear, started having episodic seizures, and the nerves on the left side of his face were destroyed, freezing his facial expression in place for the last 45 years.
Yo, what's up? Is your fun?
So it was like a delayed reaction. Because at first it made it seem like I thought nothing was going to happen, but I said all that energy and protons, man, and we saw it with CERN. I've seen a couple of clips going around about CERN, so we know some crazy stuff goes down there. But the fact that safety measures were just so laxed, and somebody didn't even, because he didn't close the door earlier, it changed somebody's life forever, man. What do you guys think about CERN, though?
Facts about women that are actually pretty crazy. Part 5. Taller women are more likely to have cancer, whereas shorter women are more likely to have smaller babies. I don't think that's a fair trade, but it's not my doings. In Greece, throwing an apple at a woman was considered a marriage proposal. What? Now, if anyone did that in America, and they threw an apple at the woman they were trying to propose to, she would definitely walk up to him and calmly go, "Yo, why'd you throw that apple at me? That ain't cool. Now I'm gonna have to beat you, bruh." 80% of women will ask questions that they already know the answer to, and the reason being is they're not trying to interrogate us, they're just trying to see if we're listening and if we actually care about what they're saying. So just pay attention, guys. A lot of women lose 2 to 3 hours of sleep every night due to overthinking, anxiety, worry, whatever that may look like. And I'm not saying guys don't do this too, but women are linked to having less serotonin, which helps them go to sleep. So women, if you're still up, get on the Xbox, play some COD, and smack some noobs for us.
Really? You guys believe some of those Chris?
If you earned $100,000 a day since the day Christ was born till now, you still wouldn't be as rich as Jeff Bezos. We actually know how to make car doors silent when you shut them, but it freaks people out and makes them think it's still open, which means that every car door sound was engineered to sound that way. Nike's famous slogan, "Just Do It," was actually inspired by the last words of a murderer on death row.
What the hell?
Disturbing facts that will ruin your life. When whales reach a certain age, they will eventually be too weak to swim back to the surface for air, so they will just suffocate to death and eventually sink to the bottom of the ocean.
Damn.
When you die, you will be aware that you are dead until the moment your brain fully ceases function. When getting laser eye surgery, you can smell the parts of your eyes being shaved down. During the French Revolution, where the guillotine was introduced, the people to be executed fought to be first, as the blade would dull after multiple uses, and wouldn't cut a head clean off at the first attempt. If you're a male, after you die, your loved ones can have a doctor electrocute your prostate to force you to ejaculate for sperm. Humans have enough bite power to bite off their own finger, bone and all. The only thing stopping us is our brain's natural safety factor. A deceased human body can take between 24 to 48 hours to decompress, releasing the remaining blood, urine, and fecal matter, depending on the situation, position, and method of death. If you die on a submarine, they put your body in the fridge with all the food. If not, up a torpedo tube. It's actually common that corpses will periodically burp, fart, gasp, groan as gases escape through the mouth and anus. When you get burned by electricity, it actually leaves marks shaped like lightning on your skin. Hit the plus sign if you want to learn more facts.
You learn the facts out here, man, today. Tap in with us.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 16. Kangaroos are absolutely terrifying, and if you mess with one, it will likely lure you into the water and attempt to drown you.
What?
There's an abandoned Disney park that you aren't allowed to go to, and it was shut down in 1999 because it was infested with free-roaming alligators. The animals were being abused, and an 11-year-old boy died from a flesh-eating bacteria found in the park's waters. In the movie The Wizard of Oz, the lion's costume was made out of a real skinned lion. This is the John Lawson house. No one knows who lives there, but every single day, there are several female mannequins sitting on the front porch wearing a variety of clothing. Their positions and outfits change daily, and many believe this is meant to convey some sort of message. And in 1871, a train crash took place just 200 feet away from the home, killing 22 people. And these mannequins are always pointing toward the crash.
Who the hell is putting those mannequins out there and changing them? That's a very weird mystery, man, that we're going to have to dive into. Because I have to find a backstory about that one. That one is just make my mind turn. Somebody's out there just like setting up the mannequins each and every day. Why are they doing it? What's the reason behind it? It's the questions we need to be asking ourselves.
Here are some fun facts to tell at parties that'll make you seem super cool and likable. In an average lifespan, a person breathes in around 45 pounds of dust and debris. You know how they say dogs' mouths are cleaner? That's because there's more bacteria in a person's mouth than there is people in Canada and the US combined. A man can grow up to 6 feet of nose hair in their lifetime, and up to a 30-foot long beard if he never shaves. And if you ever wanted to swim in a pool of saliva, it would only take one person at the age of 60 to have produced enough saliva in his lifetime to fill up 2 pools. By the age of 60, a person will have lost 50% of their taste buds. That explains why old people like grits so much. The ear is actually really fragile, and it only takes about 7 pounds of force to rip your ear off.
Really? What the hell? I heard your ears.
These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. When Apollo 11 landed, it only had 20 seconds of remaining fuel. 4 months ago, a deceased rapper by the name Gunu had his corpse on stage while fans were partying around his body. The average person wastes 5 months of their lives waiting for red lights to turn green. Cruise ships have morgues, just in case someone, during the trip. If you have red eyes after swimming, it's not from chlorine. It's from the chlorine mixing with other people's urine. The furthest part of the ocean from land is Point Nemo. If you get stuck there, you're not coming back. Sunburn are your cells dying to avoid being cancerous. Most laugh tracks and shows are people from the 50s, which means you're hearing the laughter of dead people. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 14.
Really? Now if you think about it, you're right about the laugh tracks. I don't even know if there's still some shows or movies who use it, but why won't they update them? Yeah, that's true. You want something like that in your movies or shows. They need to update those tracks.
Cara Robinson was 15 years old when a man in his late 30s abducted and assaulted her for 18 hours before she outsmarted him. A special thank you to Lifetime for partnering with me and providing the following photos for their movie, The Girl Who Escaped, the Cara Robinson Story, to help highlight 3 ways Cara survived her kidnapping. Number 1. Cara counted the number of turns her kidnapper made, which helped lead authorities straight to his home. Number 2. She memorized important information like the serial number on the plastic container he forced her into, and the names of his doctor and dentist, which were visible on his refrigerator. Number 3. She controlled her emotions, keeping him at ease and gaining his trust. Authorities say Cara's self-control is what may have saved her life because she was able to develop an escape plan, but they had no clue the man they were chasing had killed before. Visit mylifetime.com/watchripped to watch The Girl Who Escaped, the Cara Robinson Story, and all other Ripped from the Headlines movies.
I am so glad that other people are talking about O.J. Simpson's book, because I have, this has been one of my many Roman empires in life, but this was O.J. Simpson's book that ended up, I'm going to tell you the story in a second, but if I did it, is what this book's is actually called, Confessions of the Killer. And here's the story. So he said that this book was a hypothetical account of how he would have committed double homicide if he had done it. So in 2006, a publisher announced that they were going to publish this book by O.J. Simpson. So they received a phone call from an attorney who said that O.J. was ready to confess in a book, I guess. And actually, I thought it was some kind of scam, and I didn't believe him, and I thought, this guy's a lunatic. But I took his number, and I said I'd call him back. So then she did call him back, and of course they immediately bought the book, because, what a wild thing. So it sold for $3.5 million, and when it was set to publish, there was a bunch of hype around it. I absolutely remember this. And the victims' families were outraged. Absolutely. They were absolutely outraged. Because don't forget about double jeopardy. At this point, he was tried for those murders and acquitted, so he could no longer be prosecuted for those murders, even if he said in a book that he had done it. He could be prosecuted for other things, but just not those murders. So after all of the backlash, HarperCollins pulled the book. And then, in 2007, Ron Goldman's family obtained rights to the book. They were awarded a $38 million wrongful death settlement against Simpson. And as part of that settlement, they were awarded the rights to the book. So they revised the book, added in their own personal commentary, and then released the book in 2007 anyway. So if you want to buy this book, all of the royalties go to Ron Goldman's family, so I highly recommend it, and I'm probably going to, because I have always wanted to read this book and just get a glimpse into how he would have narrated these crimes as he was getting to the point of committing them. It's just so wild to me that this book freaking exists. But I never wanted to buy it because I didn't want to give O.J. Simpson any money, so it's really nice to know that all of the rights go to the Ron Goldman